You think the exit is the finish line? It's not. At 22, you write a business plan on the back of a napkin. It's terrible. Your friends read it. They don't say it's terrible. They say, maybe. And that maybe is enough. You drop out. You work 80-hour weeks for 4 years straight. No vacation. No relationship that survives. Just the grind and the belief that there's something on the other side of the grind. That's the only way you keep moving. At 26, you raise a Series A. The money hits your account. It's more money than you've ever seen. The number on the screen makes your hands shake. You think you're rich. You're not. It's working capital. You spend it all. Hiring, infrastructure. Burning through like your life depends on it. Because it does. The company needs oxygen. At 30, you sell. $100 million. That's what the wire says. That number. You wake up one morning and that number is real. Real transfer. Real zeros. Your name on a cap table that will exist longer than you will. Longer than your grandchildren will. The noise after the announcement is immense. Congratulations from people who ignored you at 25. Investment offers. Speaking gigs. Podcast appearances. Your parents finally understand what you do. Your mom tells her friends, you think you're free. You've never been more trapped. Because now you realize something that the exit doesn't advertise. The exit isn't an ending. It's a door. And nobody tells you what's on the other side. This is the moment nobody prepares you for. So I'm spelling it out plainly. Subscribe, because what comes after this is the part nobody teaches you. The part that defines whether you build a life or just trade one prison for another. The trap looks like this. It's almost beautiful in how well it's designed. I know because I've watched it happen 50 times. More. I've been in rooms with founders who exited at 28, 32, 35. Different companies, different industries. The pattern is identical. The trap is the same. The door they thought would free them became a different kind of cage. You keep the same team. You keep the same office. You keep the same routines because the acquirer wants continuity. Continuity means stability. Stability means less risk. So you stay 2 years, 3 years. And here's the thing. Those years are the most dangerous of your life. More dangerous than the startup years. Because now you have 2 problems instead of 1. The first problem is old. You're working 80 hours a week. But now you're doing it inside somebody else's org chart. You have a boss again. It doesn't feel like it. You're still the founder. Your name's still on the website. Your face is still in the lobby. But there's a VP somewhere who controls your decisions. And every decision you want to make takes 3 meetings to happen. Every initiative has to pass through a filter that isn't you. The second problem is new. You have money. Real money. Enough that your next move matters. If you waste it, you'll never forgive yourself. If you invest it wrong, you'll spend the next decade wondering what could have been. If you sit on it, inflation is eating it. The pressure isn't, will this startup survive anymore? It's, what am I building with what I've already built? It's heavier, it's quieter, it stays with you. At 22, the answer to what are you building that was obvious? Survive. At 26, it was obvious, scale. At 30, it stops being obvious. Most founders I've watched at this moment do one of 3 things. The patterns are predictable. Some stay. They take the acquirer's golden handcuffs. They work the earnout. They tell themselves that they're still building even though they're executing someone else's strategic plan. 4 years later, they leave with another check and a resume line that means nothing because they were building other people's visions the whole time. They have 120 million instead of 100 million. They are miserable. They'll never admit it. Some start again immediately. They're jittery. They couldn't build inside someone else's structure, so they start another company. This one is different. This one fails. Or it doesn't fail. It just succeeds slowly. No acquisition, no exit story. Just a lifestyle business that pays well and demands everything. They have more money than they started with. They're lonelier. The third group does something different. Something that nobody talks about. They pause. Not quit. Pause. There's a difference. Pause means you're still deciding. Quit means you've stopped. They honor their earnout because that's their word. Their signature matters to them. But they use the 3 years differently. Not to build someone else's product. To understand what building actually means to them. They travel for the first time in 8 years. They read things that have nothing to do with startups. They date people who don't work in tech. They fail at hobbies. They sit in silence for long enough to hear themselves think, and then they build something that isn't scaled, that isn't sold, that just works, something that matters to them, something that doesn't have a metric or a valuation or an exit strategy, just value. You want to know the part that breaks everyone at your stage? It's not the money. The money just sits there. It doesn't ask anything of you. It's the identity reset. From 22 to 30, you had a clear answer to who are you? You're the founder, the one building this thing. Every decision you made it. Every failure was yours. Every win belonged to you. It was brutal. It was also simple. There was no ambiguity. At 30, that identity dissolves. It dies in real time. You're not the founder anymore. You're the person who was the founder. Past tense. It's jarring. One day you're building, one day you're managing, one day you're maintaining, and finding the next identity, that's the real work. It takes years. Most people never finish it. They just live inside the ghost of who they were. They stay the founder of the exited company. They live inside that identity. They reference it in meetings. They use it as permission to speak in rooms where they have no authority. But the startup they actually built is gone. It's someone else's product now, someone else's mission. So they're carrying a ghost identity into their new life. The guys who win at this stage are the ones who can do something terrifying. Let go of the founder identity completely, not begrudgingly, fully, with relief. Because what comes after isn't less. It's different. Some of them become investors, but real investors, not the ones who reference their exit constantly at dinner parties, the ones who actually study the game, who read 50 pitch decks and fund 2, who sit with their money for 3 years before moving it, who understand that most startups fail. Some of them build again, but not to win, to learn. Their second company fails and they're fine with it. They're at peace with it because the money means they can afford to fail. So they actually take risks instead of managing them. They experiment instead of optimizing. Some of them just disappear from the game. They move to Costa Rica or Portugal or some random place. They build a house. They write a book nobody reads. They start a nonprofit. They commit to one thing that will never exit because it's not supposed to. The one thing none of them do is pretend. They don't pretend they're still building the same company. They don't pretend the money doesn't change you. They don't pretend this is just another milestone on the path to something bigger. They don't pretend the old identity still fits. They name what happened. They solved the first problem. Now they get to choose the second one. And that choice, that's the one that matters. Here's what actually happened at your exit. You didn't become rich. You became solvent. There's a massive difference and nobody says it out loud. Rich is when your money makes money faster than you can spend it. Your capital is working. You don't think about it. You just live. You don't have scarcity thoughts. Solvent is when you can stop running. You have enough oxygen to breathe. You can think about things other than survival. But you're still bound to the system that got you here because you don't know who you are outside of it. $100 million sounds like rich. Taxes take 40% immediately. The stock they want you to hold is worth half. By the time the dust settles, you have enough to be comfortable for life if you live a specific way. Retire early, maybe. Build again without capital constraints, only if you're willing to risk most of it. So you stay inside the company, inside the identity, inside the waiting room where every exited founder sits, checking their phones, wondering why nobody told them this part of the story. Before my first exit, it was because that's how you start thinking about it. Exits plural, not singular. I thought the number was the point. Before the second exit, I thought scale was the point. Before the third, I understood what was actually happening. The exit isn't the destination, it's a door. And most people unlock it, walk through, then turn around and walk back because on the other side, there's just your actual life. No more mission to organize around, no more external clarity. Just what do you actually want? That question is harder than building a $100 million company. Because with the company, you had extrinsic markers, revenue, users, growth. Sure,